Does everyone in the world play Monopoly on their coffee cups? It's a little chilly today for a convertible ride.
Benny, Effie. We are following the Ontario pony pulling rules.
I'll bring out Brian Ramsey out of Madoc with Kenny and Jason.
He likes to show what his tractor can do. Yeah, he's telling them to get out of the way. We are the Grass Hogs Lawn Tractor Racing Club, and that concludes our race program today. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Have a good afternoon and happy Thanksgiving.
We're back again, taking care of this MS170 threesome we had here. We've got one out of the way. Let's do another one. So this one is here for a bar and chain issue as well. Let's start right there. Good morning. Welcome back to my workbench. Today we are looking at another Stihl MS170. This is my second one today. You may think that I see a lot of these saws on my bench, which I do, but that's because there are so many of them out there. I've sold, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of these. They're everywhere. And they are good little saws, but they do require maintenance. They do require regular air filter cleaning and replacement, and good fuel and proper storage. So this MS170 was dropped off, and the customer said, bar holder is broken. How much is it going to cost? Quote me. I don't want to spend much money. Bar holder. Okay, let's find the bar holder. These days, you get all kinds of lower end, inexpensive equipment dropped off. Lower end trimmers, lower end chainsaws, even push mowers. This guy probably paid, I've seen these saws be $200 Canadian. So it's not a really expensive saw. And depending on what it needs, he may or may not want to fix it. So when something like this is dropped off and the customer says, quote it first, don't fix it until you quote me. I want to know the cost. I don't have a magic wand or a crystal ball to look into. I have to spend time to find out what's wrong with the saw and how much it's going to cost to fix it. So on stuff like this, we take a small deposit up front, and that covers a little bit of time for me to spend on finding out what the saw needs, pricing it, calling him, all that sort of stuff. It's happened many, many times where something's dropped off. You call them and quote them. They don't want to fix it. You tell them you owe me a little bit of time for looking at it. They never come and pay you. They don't come for their equipment. And it's just not a good situation. So all this little stuff now, it's a deposit up front. I think a lot of shops are starting to operate like this because there's just too much junk dropped off. There's lots of other brands out there that I don't really even touch them, some lower end brands. And if I look at them and quote them and the customer never comes back for it, I end up throwing the thing in the dumpster. And I wish I had my time back. Getting back to this saw, the bar holder's broken. So we're going to find out what's broken and how much it's going to cost to fix it. And we'll go from there. So I guess we didn't get into whether it runs or not. I don't know. See, with this sort of stuff, there's so many unknowns. So I could say, take this off, find something really simple, fix it, go outside with it. Oh, it won't start. And I call him and he says, oh yeah, it hasn't ran in 5 years. So you got to be very careful how you approach this, and you go in the right order, because you can get over your head fast on something like this. So the chain is obviously very loose. Let's pull this clutch cover off and take a peek at what's going on behind there. Take the bar and chain off. When the customer dropped this off, he said, bar holder broken. I wasn't out front when this was dropped off, so I'm just reading what the tag says. Kind of expected to see maybe a problem with a bar stud, maybe the chain tensioner. Everything so far looks to be here and intact. I looked at the bar and chain and it looks fine. The chain glides around the bar, no problem. I guess we're going to have to investigate, try to find what the problem is. I'll just see if the chain tensioner is doing what it's supposed to. You can see that pin right there. I don't think anything's wrong with that. I'll pull the clutch drum off and we'll see if there's any problem in behind there. There's probably a buildup of dirt behind that, so it's hard to get off of there. Clutch bearing looks fine. All the clutch springs are in place. I see nothing visibly wrong here. I'll grease this and I'll put this back together. Just scrape this out. It's got a dirt buildup. That's why it wouldn't easily pull off. So I'm not really sure. I don't see a visual problem here. I do see a filthy, well-used chainsaw with what looks like a brand new bar and a newer chain. When I see a chainsaw that looks like this and a bar that looks like this, I'm starting to wonder if we have a different issue, an oiling issue or a running issue, and not a bar and chain issue. You know, a lot of guys bring saws in here and they drop it off and they say one thing, but they don't actually know what they're talking about. So I'm going to go about this different than I thought I was. I thought I was going to find, a bar stud or something visible here, and I'm not seeing any problem. There's nothing wrong with this bar and chain. There's nothing wrong with any of this. Those bar studs are tight. The tensioner's working. So earlier in this video, I mentioned how you have to be careful how you approach this sort of equipment, and this video may be an excellent example of this. So we're going to start on the power head. We're going to see if this thing runs and oils. So I work out front once in a while when I have to, and when someone comes in with a chainsaw to drop off, it happens all the time like this. Someone walks in, I want my saw serviced, and I say to them, okay, so your saw runs good, you're just looking to have it serviced. Well, no, it doesn't run, it won't start, or it won't idle, or this or that. But they won't disclose that information unless I interrogate them. And that's what's happened here. I didn't receive this, and I'm probably going to have to give some lessons on saw receiving out front. I should have had more information about this than what I have. But anyways, let's go on here and see what we can find. So get the bar and chain out of the way. There's nothing wrong with them. Get those rabbit turds off my desk. So we're going to check out his fuel, check out and see if he runs bar oil or not, pull this top cover off. I have a feeling that we are going to find some surprises here. Let's start with the fuel. Okay, that's tight. Smells like a mix between fresh and rotten. Let's dump it out. I don't see any water. I see lots of dirt, hair. I don't see any water in his fuel, just a bit of dirt and hair and a bit of a funny smell. I'm going to put his fuel back in it because when I go to start this, I want to be starting it under the same conditions that he was. I want to find out what's wrong with this, and I use a process of elimination to do that. Let's check his bar oil, see if he runs bar oil. When your oil lid has debris around it, you should clean it. You want to try to not get all that stuff down in your oil tank. Did a video last week about an MS250 that wouldn't oil, and we found his oil line full of dirt and debris. I'll just peek in here, see what I can see. Yeah, there's bar oil. It's about half full. Okay, well, let's pull the top cover off this and see what little secrets we can find. Oh, delightful. Can you imagine going to a store and buying your chainsaw, a new bar and chain, and just leaving your air filter just like that? I can't imagine it. So an air filter like this is unacceptable. How can you expect any piece of equipment to work for you when you treat it like this? I don't know if this is original. I don't know if the top cover's ever been off of this. I don't know if he's the original owner. I don't know what's happened here other than a lot of abuse and neglect. So obviously this chainsaw has been ingesting dirt. So you notice how this air filter has a bit of a curl in it. So we took it out. It looked kind of something like that. Maybe worse than that. So the saw sucks its fresh air through there, and the fresh air comes up through your air filter and into your intake. If we look at the top cover here, this is where your air filter would be, sealed. There shouldn't be any dirt in there. So because this air filter is so dirty, it looks like this actually curled up so that this thing could suck air past it. This saw has sucked more dirt than my Dyson vacuum. The man who dropped this off had absolutely no complaints about the way it runs. His only complaint was a bar and chain issue. So it must run good then. I'm curious. I can't do any further damage to it any more than he's done. Let's go over to the door and see how it runs. Let's go. honestly surprised at how well this saw started and ran for the condition it's in. I didn't expect it to start, let alone run. These are tough little machines. Here's my plan for this saw. I'm going to pull this cup cover back off. I'm going to clean all the dirt out of that intake area, pull the plug out, have a look at it, replace that air filter. There's what a new one looks like. And we'll throw the bar and chain on this, make sure it runs well with the bar and chain on it. I haven't really determined what he was talking about yet, but I guess once we put the bar and chain on, maybe we'll learn something more. If he doesn't want this back, I'll probably add this to my award-winning air filter collection. I'm going to pull that plug out. It could be the original plug. It wouldn't surprise me. Lots of dirt. Well, since we're already standing here, let's take 2 seconds and have a peek down the hole. Put a new plug in, NGK BPMR 7A, gapped properly. Just gonna pop over to the door, give this thing a quick blow off. I'll be right back. Back from the compressor. Just shove that in there to keep anything more from going down. This saw's gonna get a new air filter. There's your part number if you need one. Okay. While I was over there, I cleaned the underside of that cover. While we have this saw up here, let's give this spark arrestor a quick look. Sometimes if I use my flashlight, I can see, but I can't see on this one. There's actually a lot of carbon and stuff. Yeah, I can't see anything in there, so I'll just pull it off and have a look. You can see how dirty that is. And the spark arrestor is not there. So somebody's already taken that out at some point. I'll just give that a bit of a cleanup. It's pretty dirty. I just scraped and brushed all of this carbon buildup off of this. It was actually, you could see through it a bit, but it was pretty plugged up. Spark arrestor was already gone, so they've probably had a problem with it plugged before. So we'll put that back on. Okay, I guess we will go ahead and put the bar and chain back on it. And then we'll take it over the door, fire it up, make sure it's running good. I'm going to go over and give this a clean out before I put it back on. And I'll clean up the end of this bar as well. So I got the clutch cover, I blew it out, cleaned that bar up. I also used a tool and just ran it down the bar rails. A little tiny bit of stuff came out, but it wasn't jam-packed with anything. So I guess we'll go ahead and put the bar and chain back on this. Something I like to do, especially if we have something that has a bar and chain issue, is before I reinstall it, is just put the chain on the bar and then just roll the chain around it. Just looking for any. The last MS170 video, we had a chain and the drive teeth were all smashed up and the teeth wouldn't fit in the bar. So this one looks good. I don't see any problem with this bar and chain at all. It arrived here with the Stihl letters facing upwards, so we'll put it back the other way, rotate the bar. So we're on, there's a little peg right there. We're on the sprocket. Our chain is on correctly. Cutter facing that way. Everything is moving and working as it should. So far, I see no issues here. But I've been surprised before, so we'll see. Also, in the last 170 video, we talked about the chain tensioner on these 170s being on the front here, I'll show you, instead of on the side. You can buy a kit from Stihl, which would move the tensioner to the side. I don't think they're very expensive, and I will put a part number in the comments if you want to go and get one of those kits. If I was running an MS170, I would move the tensioner over here. I find this pretty awkward having it on the front here. There's lots of debate about what the proper tension is. I like to be able to just pull the chain out, see most of the drive tooth, but not maybe the tip of it. It snaps back in, and I can still move it. But there's different ways to do it, and I'm sure the way I'm doing it is wrong to somebody. Chain brake is functioning. The chain is moving as it should. So I guess we'll go outside with it. Fire it up. See how it runs with a bar and chain on it. I'll see you back out there. Okay, so this little Stihl MS170 runs pretty good considering the condition we just found it in. It came in here and all the tag said was the bar holder is broken. I still haven't found the bar holder. When it first came in, you've seen the chain was hanging off it. Maybe this was and the bar looks like new. Maybe he bought a new bar and chain and didn't know how to install it or didn't know how to tension it and thought something was broken. I'm not really sure. But while it was here, we popped that cover off and found this air filter. So maybe it's a good thing that he didn't know how to put the bar and chain on it, because if he did, this probably wouldn't have got replaced. So I think the case is closed on the Stihl MS170 with a broken bar holder. I'm curious to talk to him when he comes in. I'm going to try to speak to him for a minute and just find out exactly what he was asking for, because I'm a little bit unclear. So this saw has ingested a lot of dirt, but regardless of that, it seems to run pretty good. So I've got another MS170 over there calling my name. I'm going to go grab it right now, see what it needs. Thank you so much for watching.